Hi guys and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about the new ASUS RT-AC88U router. This basically is ASUS top-of-the-line Wi-Fi dual-band router. It is AC3100 compliant, so it gives you up to 2167 megabits per second for the 5 gigahertz band and up to 1000 megabits per second for the 2.4 gigahertz band. That is if you use NitroCam compatible adapters. So this is how it looks. It has a pretty aggressive design, as you can see, but we are going to talk today about its interface, its software interface, and not about the hardware part. So this is the welcome screen. It's the quick setup wizard actually. You have a few available languages. I'll use the English, and we have to set a new password. I'm going to use a simple one. Okay, so this is too short. We need to add 2 more characters like this. Okay, we have a warning. It's too simple, but you can go over it. The next step is the wireless interface setup. So as you can see, we have an autocomplete function for the 5 gigahertz, but we'll choose a different one. Like this, and the password like this. Okay, next we have a short configuration summary. And then we hit complete, and so this is the interface, the firmware of the router actually. So we have a few shortcuts at the top of the screen. A few warnings if this is the case. The apps for mobile devices, the connected devices, and the status of the guest networks and USB devices. Next, so the first thing is the network map. Okay, network map. The internet status. We can switch the connection on and off. Oops. Here it is. And we also have a dual one function. So here we have a few details about the dual one, but you can set it up later. As you can see, we also have a shortcut to dual one setup. Okay, I'll just disable it, but I didn't save it. I didn't hit apply. Next, there's the wireless status for 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, and you can change the encryption and the key here if you want to do it quickly, and the SSID, of course. And the status is actually the system status with the CPU load, memory load. You can see we have a dual core CPU and plenty of RAM. Then we have the clients, the connected clients. I only have one client connected at this point. It is wired because it's a desktop computer. Also, you can change the icon if you wish to. Okay, you can also block internet access or set up a time scheduling. There are multiple ways of accessing these features, of course. Okay, there's no status for the USB ports because I don't have any USB device connected. Next, there's the guest network. As you can see, you can set up to 3 guest networks for each band, and I'm going to do just that. I'll use some friendly names. And the same encryption. Also, we can set up the access time for unlimited access. Also, we can enable intranet access or back filter. Applying the settings is quite annoying if you ask me. I mean, after each function, after each change, you need to hit apply to save the settings, because if you go to the next chapter, the router doesn't keep the interface doesn't keep the settings you just did. Okay, the second guest network for the 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, this time we'll set some access time. So this will be available only for 1 day, and again we have to wait because we can't go back to set the third guest network until we save the second. Okay, and this is the third. Basically I'm doing the same thing. Just this time I will disable the internet access. Okay, and now I'm going to repeat the same steps for the 5 gigahertz band. With different SSIDs and different authentication keys, of course. Okay, the second. And now the third. Basically, at the end of this step, I'll have no less than 8 SSIDs generated by the same router. 2 standard SSIDs for the 2.4 and 5.0 gigahertz, and 6 more for the guests. 3 for the 2.4 gigahertz and 3 more for the 5 gigahertz. Okay, so here it is. Next we have the AI protection feature. This is basically responsible for your router and network security. The first part, the network protection, we also have some FAQ sections for each feature the router provides, but you'll need to be online for that. And we also have a scanning function. Basically the router scans its setup and lets you know if everything is okay. So as you can see, we are lacking some protection here, but we can secure it automatically like this. You just press secure your router and it self-enables all the required features. But you'll have to wait again, of course. Now you see everything's okay, unless the login username and password, but I'm not going to change that now. Also, we have the malicious sites blocking and vulnerability protection enabled, and you should know the security feature is provided by Trend Micro. So it's practically third-party software, professionally developed. Next to network protection, there are the parental controls, which has two functions. First, and I think this is the most important, is are the filters for web navigation and apps. Also, we have the FAQ section for this also. But everything is pretty straightforward, so I don't think any of you will need this FAQ. Okay, we have some license agreement because it's third party. And now we have the filters enabled. We just have to select the clients. As I told you, I only have one client, so we have the content category. We want to block the adult content and maybe some instant messaging. Okay. The peer-to-peer. I don't want my child to use trackers, perhaps. And the media streaming, maybe. Okay, so I first need to add the rule and then, only then, hit apply. See, everything I selected is here. And hit apply. Next, we have the time scheduling. Okay, so we just enabled it, added a client, and now we have the schedule. And we need to select the time frames when we want to enable the computer to access the internet. So you can do like this, or or if you want to have the same schedule every day, you do this. And then hit OK. Now we are applying the settings. Basically now the designated computer cannot access the internet outside of the designated hours. Okay, so this seems to take longer than it should. That's strange. Okay, so this is definitely not the normal behavior. Okay, so there's definitely something wrong here. Oh, I think this is a hiccup or something. I'll just open a new window and log in again. It's still not working. Let's see if it actually did anything. No, no, it just didn't do anything. So we are going to try again. Let's see if this time is any better. The interface seems to work just fine, but it refuses to apply the settings I did. And we don't have any load on the CPU. I mean, 1 or 2% is nothing. Okay, I'm closing this and doing the settings again. This time it seems to be working. That was quite strange. I don't know why it did that. Perhaps a bug or something. Yep, this time it's working nice. Now we have the time schedule and the filters enabled. Next is the adaptive QoS, the quality of service feature. So this is the bandwidth monitor, but there's no traffic right now, so there's nothing to see here. And the apps analysis, of course. The next tab is the actually QoS configuration. Okay, so because I enabled the time schedule, I don't have any internet access right now. So quality of service is now enabled. I think. No, it's not. No. Now it's enabled. Yeah. And we can have the adaptive QoS, which is the smarter feature of the quality of service. The traditional QoS, which is basically some bandwidth allocation and the bandwidth limiter, which is what it says it is. Just allows you to enable a limit for the bandwidth. Okay. And we have the automatic or the manual setting for the adaptive QoS. So depending on your using scenario, you can change the priority to best suit your needs. Okay, so now we have customized our quality of service, but you can also select a preset profile like games, media streaming, or web surfing. And hit apply. Then we have the web history feature. Basically, we can enable this to see the browsing history actually. Next we have the game boost function, which is pretty unique, I think, for ASUS. Now we have WT-Fast feature, which is a game booster function, but you will need to set up your account for this. Or then we have the LAN boost feature, which basically prioritizes your games. It basically uses the quality of service function. And then we have another shortcut to AI protection. Next, there's the traffic analyzer, which has an intro feature. That explains it's something like an animated guide or something. But you can close it if you don't want to see it. So as you can see, there was no traffic, so there's nothing to show here. Also, you can enable or disable the intro that you saw earlier. Those were the statistics, and now you can see the traffic monitor, the live traffic monitor. This is quite a nice feature, if you ask me. Next we have the USB application feature, and there are a few functions here. The AI disk is the first one. If you want to access your files on the USB disk through the internet. Next we have the servers feature. So we have the media server, but there's no USB device, so there's no USB device connected right now. That's why you cannot see any disks. Then we have the Samba server, which can also be used as a cloud disk, personal cloud disk. You can also allow guests to log in. Wow, saving this settings is quite slow. Much slower than before. This is quite annoying. But fortunately, you're not going to do this every day. Okay, so it took so much time because the router rebooted actually. Okay, this is interesting. So now the samba is enabled. You can add new users to your samba server if you want to. It's it's actually pretty easy to do that. And you can also later edit the password. And finally there's the FTP server. This was much faster. Okay, so we can also allow anonymous login, and we can set up the maximum number of concurrent connections, simultaneous connections. Also, if you want, you can add more users. Next is the network printer sharing server. But I have a wireless printer, so I don't need this feature. Okay, so if you want to access, if I want to access the internet, I get the same warning that I disabled my internet access during these time hours. Okay. Then we have the USB modem and USB tethering thing, which is basically a dual one function. So this is actually a shortcut to the dual one feature of the equipment. Then there's the time machine. Yes, we also have a time machine feature. But of course you will need an USB storage device. And finally there's the download master, which also requires an USB storage device. Next is the AI Cloud feature, which allows you to access your data from home, even when you're on the go. So we have the cloud disk, and the smart access, and then the smart sync, which is a sync function. So it can integrate with web storage, Dropbox, and to other services. Unfortunately, there's no Google Drive support. The sync server lets you to allows you to synchronize your AI cloud data with another AI cloud 2.0 server. So basically, if you have two ASUS routers with AI cloud 2.0 feature, you can synchronize data between them. Then we have some extra settings. protection feature. And we also have a log with everything that happened. So here there's a gamepad here that wasn't here before. So it's related to quality of service, and it's set to game mode now, but I chose to customize my priority. So my settings actually disappeared. Okay, let's save it again. So now we have back the customize mode. I don't know what happened. I think it's because of the game boost. Okay. So, here it is again, the gamepad, so it's the game mode. Okay, let's put it back on customize. Save. Okay. And then it self-changes again. Yeah, this is definitely because of the game boost. Yeah, because I chose the LAN boost setting for games. So this feature basically puts your quality of service function to game mode. Okay. So let's enable the QoS again and set the customize mode. And click save and apply again. Okay, we have customize mode once again, and now it stays that way. So we can move on to the advanced settings, and the wireless is the first part. We have some smart connect function. This basically aggregates the 2.4 and 5.0 gigahertz band like this. So you only set up one band, and you have the settings for the other band ready-made. Also, there's a table with smart connect rules. Basically, using this feature, the router can determine which band is better for your devices, and although your device will only see only one SSID, there are actually two bands, and the router will automatically choose the best band for each device. But if you disable the smart connect, you'll be able to do the settings for each band individually, like this. So we have some optimized mode for Xbox. We can choose the channel bandwidth, and this is very important, because 40 megahertz will provide you the best speed on 2.4 gigahertz, although is not quite neighbor friendly, you know. You can choose the control channel. It's quite strange that the router applies the channel 3. I was expecting a higher channel. And we have the authentication methods and the authentication key that we also set up earlier. Then we can repeat the settings for the 5 gigahertz band as well. Also we have the optimized mode for Xbox, and we have the channel bandwidth again. I strongly recommend using the 80 megahertz here, and it's quite impressive. It's quite impressive that we have a huge number of channels for the 5 gigahertz band. Then we have the Wi-Fi protected setup that allows you to quickly connect your devices, and you can do this for both frequencies. I usually don't use the Wi-Fi protected setup feature because even ASUS considers this is not secure enough, not safe enough. Then we have the wireless distribution system, which basically allows you to transform your router into a bridge. It can this way it can connect to another access point wirelessly. So it can become a repeater if you want to. But I don't know who would pay this amount of money for a repeater, to be honest. Then we have filters for the wireless networks based on MAC physical address. So you can accept or reject specific MAC addresses. Then there's the radius settings and the professional tab, where you can enable or disable each radio band or set up some time schedule like this. Then you can isolate your wireless clients, so they won't be able to communicate with each other. Also the multicast rate, the preamble type, ASUS recommends keeping the default values for optimal use, but of course if you consider yourself to be a professional user, you can try to adjust those. So this is the nitrocam technology that allows you to reach the 2167 megabits per second. Also, you have the multi-user MIMO. This is not something new, but ASUS still says this is under testing and evaluation. Then there are two settings for the beamforming technology. If these can be very useful if you have beamforming compatible adapters. And finally the power adjustment. So if you don't need all the power, you can lower it. For lower radiation or something. And then you have the 5 gigahertz band, which basically provides the same settings, mostly. Anyway. Next we have the local area network setting, and this is the IP address and the subnet mask. Then we can enable or disable the dhcp server. We can change the domain name, and we can change the starting and ending address, as well as the lease time and the default gateway and DNS servers. Also, we can assign manual IPs if we want to. We can have specific IPs for each device, like this. This is most definitely useful for network area storage devices, because you would want to have the same IP every time. Yeah. Can't access the internet, I know that already. Okay, so it seems I have to log in again. Okay, so let's get back to local area network. Then we can enable static routes, of course, if we need them. And we also have settings for IPTV. With different profiles. Or manual settings, if there's no compatible profile. Then we have controls dedicated to the switch function. This model integrates an 8-port switch, by the way, in case you didn't know. And we can enable and disable the net acceleration and blink aggregation. Next, there's the one setting function. So the one can be, for the one we can use the one port, or for the primary one, the one port, or one of the USB ports. We also have net, enable or disable option, and we have the universal plug and play function, which ASUS considers is not 100% safe, but it can be useful, especially for I don't know, for new users maybe that don't know how to set up the port triggering function or port forwarding function. So the one connection can be automatic, static, PPPoE, PPTP, and L2TP. Then we have the dual one feature, which is currently enabled because I enabled it earlier. And for this you can choose to use one of your Ethernet ports or one of the USB ports. And there's two modes. There are two modes: load balance and failover. So if we choose the USB port, you can choose the USB port for a failover function. So if your primary internet connection fails, then you can the router automatically switches to the secondary connection on the USB port, and but only after it goes through certain steps you can set up right here. So we have some detection intervals, some failover detection time, and some failback execution time that you can adjust. Also, you can set up some target for the ping function, so that your router can check if your internet connection really failed before it makes the switch to the secondary connection. This also takes a bit longer than before. I think the router needs to reboot again. to apply the new settings, and probably that is why it is taking so much time. Okay, so it seems now I also have internet connection. Yeah, it rebooted as I told you, so I need to sign in again. Next is the port trigger feature. I think, in my opinion, this is for the more advanced users that know how to use these functions. Because if you want to open an external port, but you want it to be open only when it needs to, you need to use this port trigger function. Next is the more common port forwarding. This also allows you to open external ports, but the ports will permanently be open. There are also a few preset profiles here, but of course you can input your own settings, and you can even use port ranges if necessary. Next is the demilitarized zone feature, and we also have a tab for dynamic DNS, and we have quite a few domains we can use. And you can even register a new account directly from the router's interface if you need to. And then there's the net pass-through. With a few protocols you can enable or disable to allow VPN connection to pass through the router. Next we have the new IP standard. I don't know if any of you uses this. And then we have the VPN feature. So the first one with which is I think the most important, is because not all routers provide this function, is the VPN server, and it has the PPTP server, which is the more basic and less useful one. Okay. And it also provides advanced settings. And then there's the OpenVPN, which is the most useful these days. Now I thought I had internet connection, but it seems I don't now. I'm still outside the designated hours. So we have again advanced settings. And of course we have the VPN client function, which provides PPTP, L2TP and OpenVPN compatibility. Okay. Then there's the firewall. It's quite strange. This wasn't included in AA protection. It's a separate function with denial of service protection and locked packets. And we can set filters depending on the website domain, and then based on keyword. Maybe I want to block stuff like XXX and porn and things like that, and also we can blacklist or whitelist network services, and we can also choose the time frame we want to use this rule. And of course we have the firewall function for the new IP standard. The administration part of the router allows you to choose your operation mode, and then we can choose the login name and password. We can enable or disable SSH, and we can establish a reboot schedule if we want to. And this is where we can set the time. It's quite strange. It's at the end of the it's not in the first part of the software, this time setting. Of course we have also online sync function. And we can enable or disable web access from one. and we can also restrict access to certain IP addresses. Then we have the firmware upgrade tab. We can ask the router to automatically check for updates, and we can allow beta firmwares as well if we want to, or you can update manually. You can basically download the new firmware and upload it to manually upload it to the router, and you can save and restore the configuration or restore the factory defaults, and you can even send your feedback to ASUS. Next we have the router's logs, which are actually pretty comprehensive. This is the general log. We also have a separate log for the wireless network, for the dhcp server, for the new IP standard, for the routing table, for the port forwarding function, and for the available connections. And last but not least, there's the network tools, which contains the network analysis. So you can use ping or traceroute to diagnose your network, basically your internet connection, like this. So you can use a few different known websites for this. Then there's the netstats tab. We also have a wake on LAN function. We can choose a target and wake it up if it has wake on LAN function, of course. And we are back to the smart connect rule I showed you earlier. So basically this is a table with rules for the smart connect function. I think this is the most advanced part, the firmware. So that was all, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and it would be useful for you. That's all for today, and see you next time.